Hi everyone, my name's Sarah Rudder. I'm founder of Ginger Dog Development, and today we are continuing our series on why personality matters. So this is the second part of our series. If you remember last time, we were talking about preferences, personality preferences. So we were talking about the fact that some of us like to do things one way and some of us like to do things a different way. The important thing to remember before we start looking at the next step is that it is a preference. So it doesn't mean that you can't do things differently. It just means that your natural way is your preference. Okay? So let's have a look. Last time we looked at the first dichotomy. So we looked at where we like to focus our energy, and we talked about introvert and extrovert preferences. Today we're going to look at how we like to gather information and the type of information that we trust. So we're thinking about how we think, essentially, today. So I have some things to get you thinking, first of all. Reflect on this picture first. Just take a moment, and I'm interested to know what goes through your mind when you look at this picture. So some of you are probably thinking some quite factual, logical things. You're probably thinking, I can see daffodils, Sarah, they're yellow, I see grass, it's green. Yeah? That was fairly sensible. Some of you are probably taking it a step further than that. Maybe your brain is making connections with what you're seeing to certain other things that you know about. Anybody finding that happening? Yeah, a few of you. Okay, fantastic. So, anybody want to share any of that? Or is, yeah, pardon? Rugby. Are you a Welsh rugby watcher by any chance? Hoping to beat them. Ah, there you go. I wondered whether the daffodil was causing that. Okay, any other connections being made? Roundabouts?
Yeah, they're always on roundabouts.
Daffodils are always on roundabouts. This time of year, right? That and the crocus, they're everywhere. Okay, fantastic. Now, some of you who perhaps have a more factual, logical brain are probably thinking, why would you be thinking about roundabouts? It's just daffodils, yeah? On one hand, we'll have some people in the room who attend to facts and what is present in the moment. And on the other hand, we have people who use that information to springboard onto other ideas and possibilities. Try this one. How do you approach flat pack furniture? Hands up if you are a person who likes to read the instructions, get out all the stuff, make sure you've got it all before starting. Okay, thank you. And those of you who like to look at the picture and get started. There we go. Okay, now, those of you who like to read all the instructions are probably thinking, why would you not read the instructions? Yeah? That seems like a ridiculous way to go about things. And this is why personality matters, my friends, because we like to do things differently, we think in different ways, and sometimes the fact that somebody thinks differently can seem a little bit odd or a little bit alien to us. Okay, one more. Are you a person that checks every detail of your bank statement every month? Some people are nodding, yes. Oh, you, good, it's good to put that out there, Charlie. We're very delighted by that. Or are you a person that takes a cursory glance at the balance, and as long as that looks kind of in the ballpark where you think it should be, that's okay, you don't bother looking at the detail. Yeah, a few people nodding about that, not Charlie. We're good, we're good. Okay, so our two dichotomies are called, if we're using the MBTI, the popular MBTI approach, are called sensing or intuition. You can also think about it as detail or big picture, so whatever works for you in your mind. Those with a preference for detail tend to rely on factual information. So information that they can see, hear, touch. They like to use their 5 senses to inform that. Facts and solid data are important to them, and they focus on what is immediate, practical, and real. At work, they tend to have a clear schedule. They like to work to a schedule, and their processes tend to be quite logical. Those with bigger picture preferences often like to see the big picture first. If they don't or can't see the big picture, then it's quite difficult for them to attend to the detail, if that makes sense to people. Yeah, I don't know if any of you ever go to a client meeting and somebody piles straight in with lots of detail and you're kind of thinking, hang on a minute, I need to step back from this. I need to understand what's happening in the wider view first before I can understand that level of detail. So people with intuition preferences, they're very good at spotting patterns. They're very good at making connections between things. They tend to love concepts and ideas, strategies. Imagination is important to them. So what might be the challenges, do you think? We've already touched a little bit on the fact that perhaps it would be interesting or maybe odd to work with somebody with the opposite preference. Any challenges that you can see between these two?
You'll be starting from different positions.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody with a big picture preference is working with somebody with a detail preference, they're starting from two completely different angles, yeah, and might find it quite challenging to work together. Also, the detail people sometimes find the big picture people a little bit too theoretical, a little bit too conceptual, might think they've got their heads in the clouds. The big picture people might find that the detail is too much for them, and they find that quite challenging to deal with as well. They might find that the detail people are lacking imagination, for instance, or creativity. None of those things are true necessarily, because we can all work with our different preferences, but you might find that challenge when you're working together. So a couple of thoughts then on how you might work with people who have a different preference to you. First of all, if you're working with people who use their senses, show evidence. Yeah, work with what you know about them, and you can probably identify the people that you work with and what their preferences are. So show evidence, be practical, realistic, grounded in your ideas, and have a well thought out logical plan. Yeah? If you are working with somebody who is more intuitive, go with the big picture. Give them the big picture before you tell them the detail. Provide an idea or hypothesis or a summary, but don't expect details. Accept the intuitive conclusion at face value, so accept that actually they're going to come up with this big picture idea before they can drill into the detail. And encourage imagination, allow them to dream. Don't feel that you need to pigeonhole them into a detail-shaped box. So that's our two preferences. Looking at the second one, so what kind of information do you like to gather and trust? We've looked at how we like to use our energy before, and next time we'll be looking at how we like to make decisions. Thank you very much indeed. I will take questions.